Okay, we're going to do some barrel threading today on the Norinco SKS that we chopped and put a new front sight on. So I'm going to go over the things that you're going to need to thread your barrel. It's super easy to do. There's just a couple things that you got to buy. So going to need a drill. Going to need a set of calipers. This isn't, a must, but it's definitely going to help out. Going to need a die. And here I'm using a set that I got from Deltac, and it actually came with the die handles, the die, and a starter. And then for this job, we're also going to use an annular cutter, and the annular cutter here is from CNCWarrior.com. What the annular cutter is for is if your barrel OD is too big for the threads that you're going to use. So what it's going to do is actually it's going to resize the OD of the barrel here, and it's going to bring it down to the correct thickness for our 14x1 left-hand threads. And you're also going to need some cutting oil. You cannot use motor oil. Motor oil kind of does the opposite of what you want to do. Motor oil, the whole job of motor oil is to keep metal from touching other metal. So if you try to use that for cutting, it's going to take a long time and not be very efficient. So make sure you get actual cutting oil. This is just some cheap stuff from Ace Hardware, thread cutting oil. So right now our barrel OD on the SKS is 0.601 inches. And we need to bring it down to 0.545 in order to do the 14x1 threads. So right here we've got our annular cutter, and this specific piece has a 762 millimeter guide rod, and what it does is fits right down in here, so it's nice and straight. And then you're gonna turn this in a drill very slowly, 200 to 300 RPMs is what they say, and apply a lot of cutting oil. So before you do that, you're going to measure how far you want to cut, depending on what you're doing. So right here, we're going to, let's see, what did I end up going to? Somewhere around 0.85, so almost an inch. And the reason why I did that is I wanted to give enough threads here to come up pretty close to right about here, and then still leave room for a jam nut. A jam nut is not necessary in all cases, but for the brake that I'm using here, it's a Definitive Arms fighter brake, and it does not have any wrench flats. So I can't really tighten it down to the barrel very well without damaging it or putting stress on this thing in spots I don't want to do it. So I'm going to use this right here. So I wanted to give myself enough room to keep both of those on there. If you use a brake that does have wrench flats, you can, do whatever you want.Ut a crush washer on it, or peel washers, or anything. So let's go ahead and get started. I've already got this thing in the vise and got it, semi-level. Being level isn't super important because our annular cutter is going to guide itself down to the barrel, all on its own. But you want to run a cleaning rod up through here with a couple patches to catch, all the shavings and stuff that's going to get down in there. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm putting my drill just on its slowest high torque setting. Okay. For down inside the barrel, I'm going to put some actual oil, not cutting oil, to keep everything inside there from getting wear as much as I can. And I'm going to coat the guide rod here also with some regular oil. Try to keep the inside parts from wearing. And we'll apply our cutting oil here on the outside. So I've already measured this barrel and marked it to the place that I want to stop cutting. and that just cuts like butter. All right, let's go. Alright, looking good. I'm going to go ahead and clean off some of these metal shavings off of this tool. Clean this area up a little bit and then reapply some oil. Okay, so we've reached the end of our cutting ability here. Next up, we're going to go ahead and start marking or putting our threads in place. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use this little thread starter here. That's 14 by 1 left hand, and then we're going to use our die. And what we want to do is put the starter in here and get it started just a couple threads. Might be easier to go this way. and it's going to give us a guide similar to what we had with our annular cutter. Okay, so we've got just a few threads started in here. Get this thing cinched down, and you want to start with the lettering towards the barrel. Alright, let's get started. And apply downward pressure, nice and even, and just work back and forth until we get our thread started. And you'll feel it start to bite. Back and forth until you feel it start to bite into the metal there. Once you get started, you're going to push down a little bit harder. Once you feel your first thread get started, okay. Okay, so once you get a decent amount of threads in here, you want to remove the guide tool before it touches the face of the barrel. So we got it down pretty close. We got our thread started, and it's pretty well centered. We're going to go ahead and remove this guide here because we don't want it to contact the front of the barrel. There we go. All right, we hit our shoulder right here, so that's where we're going to stop cutting. We've hit the edge of our barrel that has been sized with the annular cutter. So we're just going to go back and forth, make sure that we've got the threads nice and clean, nice and smooth. Then we'll be ready to clean this thing up and put our brake on it. Look at that. Beautiful. Nice and smooth. Alright. Let's get our jam nut put on there. This jam nut is from Deltac. It's kind of hard to find a 14x1 left-hand threaded jam nut, I'll tell you that. And it is 3/4 of an inch is what the wrench flats are. So I'm going to turn it down as far as we can go so we can get this brake threaded on as far as possible. Okay. A little bit more. I just want to get as many threads as I can to this brake. Okay. And since this brake doesn't have any wrench flaps, I'm just going to stick a screwdriver through here and hold it steady while I tighten my jam nut here. Alright, check my alignment job, and should be it. Oh yeah, it looks nice and straight. Let me go ahead and take this camera off here so you can see it. I know the quality's not the best, I'm sorry. I usually use my Galaxy S7 for my videos, but had to send it in for some warranty work, so I'm using an older phone. But heck yeah, looks nice. I'll take some still shots in the daytime so you can see how everything looks. But it turned out really nice, just kind of like what I expected. Heck yeah. Alright, well, that's all there is to it as far as threading a barrel. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If there's something else you want to see about threading a barrel, or if you have an idea of maybe a barrel that you want to see threaded, I'm going to be doing a couple different ones. So anyway, thanks for watching.